Call me Dickmaster.
No, get back! I hate you! Okay, maybe that was a bit of an overreaction. Hello, my fellow enthusiasts. Today I decided to tackle Adam. Now, for those of you who do not know, Adam within the Hazbin Hotel universe is a pretty rude and overall brash character that so far I can tell absolutely no one likes. However, I've decided to, and pun absolutely included, play devil's advocate and explain why, in my opinion, that he is 100% justified in hating every demon with a passion, at least from his point of view. Now, in order to defend his mindset, we first need to understand who he is. Adam, even within the Hazbin Hotel universe, was the first man created by God to inherit the earth in its entirety. Basically, he was made to be king. Now, he ended up getting a wife by the name of Lilith, the second human ever created, who quickly became to despise him. Remember, Adam was incredibly prideful and demanded control over everything, because that is what he was made to think. The entire world was supposed to be his, so imagine his shock when the person who was made for him rejected him entirely and then proceeded to become the first sinner alive. And not only would she become the first sinner by betraying him and pairing up romantically with Lucifer, she would then proceed to convince his newly created wife to sin as well, condemning him to eventual death along with all of his children. Now, one thing that I have to consider, and I hate how this didn't click in the previous video, but he is an angel now. In the episode where Eve is introduced, they only detail Eve consuming the fruit. They do not actually say Adam ate the fruit in the story. This means one of two things. Either Adam never partook of the fruit, which allowed him to return to heaven upon his eventual death, or he was redeemed somehow. I don't think redemption was something that happened to him considering his attitude towards sinners. I think in the Hazbin Hotel universe, Adam refused the fruit of knowledge, but the damage was already done, which resulted in him becoming mortal. His children became mortal, and the paradise that he was destined to rule over slipped through his fingertips, all because of the actions of what was, in his eyes, a foolish sinner. To make matters worse, it wasn't even his wife's doing entirely. It was Lilith, the person who spurned his affections in the first place, that caused this entire mess to begin with. This could have set a very negative way of thinking in his mind regarding sinners, because not only did Lilith sin, but she continued to make his life worse by her very existence. By doing what she wanted, she damaged him and what he considered was owed to him, which by all means was. This is especially true if we go by the original tale, where Adam, upon his banishment, was forced to work the land, which under most circumstances was barren and difficult to farm in. Harvest came difficult in comparison to the paradise he once called home. Now, considering he would still have children later on with her, it's possible he still in his own twisted way cared for Eve. However, we have not been given confirmation on whether she became an angel. Though many speculate that's this one right here, we haven't been given confirmation. If she did become an angel, then this next part is invalid, but if she didn't, if Eve was sent to hell, it would entirely be Lilith's, Lucifer, and by extension, the sinner's fault for what happened and what continued to happen on Earth. We also need to remember that Adam has been alive for as long as humanity itself. He has seen every act of genocide, every act of murder, every act of rape, and so forth. He has seen the true disgusting side of humanity, and in particular, the sinners who are among them. In a lot of ways, he could be seeing sinners as a plague that hurts his true children, the non-sinners, with the very fact that other humans made it to heaven justifying his point of view. However, there is another factor here as well. The demons we see in Hazbin Hotel and the society they created was entirely based off of Lilith's design upon her fall. Pretty much all of the culture of the top ring as well as the others within hell were partially built by Lilith herself. So you have a massive collage of murderers, rapists, and monsters whom he personally despises, and the main thing propping them up is the two beings who cost him everything. Immortality, pure bliss, and a kingdom to rule over. All of it slipped through his fingers because of these two. So naturally, he would be incredibly bitter and would take any chance to obliterate them. The demons being a genuine threat was just the scapegoat. He wants to see them suffer for everything that they have done. To add insult to injury, Lilith dared to further empower and motivate these senseless creatures, which could have contributed to his idea that once a sinner, always a sinner. Now fast forward thousands upon thousands of years of slaughter and observations of the repeating of horrific trends, and after all of that time, the daughter of the two people you hate more than anyone else in creation, the people who caused you and billions of others everything, shows up asking you for a favor. This person is also the princess of hell, the place you want to destroy more than anything. The very fact he was not immediately hostile is honestly a miracle. If most were in his shoes, he probably would have considered killing her right then and there. So that's what I think, that although he is incredibly prideful and brash, it is merely a result of who he was created to be, as well as the position that he held. That his hate for sinners was not entirely just out of plain prejudice, but from thousands of years of observations of the evil of mankind and the damnings brought on him by Lilith, the person that hell is structured upon. But hey, that's just my hypothesis. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm giving him way too much credit and that he's actually just the king of phalluses? Let me know. Thanks to my patrons on Patreon, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye.